Hey everybody, our topic today is on fractions part 5. Unit fractions is the focus of this lesson. A unit fraction, the unit refers to 1, and a unit fraction is a fraction with a numerator of 1. So for example, in our fraction here, 1/3, our numerator is 1. I'm going to highlight that. And this is what we mean when we say a unit fraction. The top number is 1, and a unit fraction is a fraction that has a numerator of 1. Remember, fractions also have a fraction bar, and then it has the denominator. The denominator tells the number of equal parts, 1, 2, 3, but the top number, the numerator, tells the amount of shaded parts. So this model shows one shaded part, which is our 1 here, out of a total of 1, 2, 3 parts for our fraction of 1/3, but this is referred to as a unit fraction. Examples of unit fractions are any fraction that have a 1 on top, in other words, a 1 in the numerator, 1/3, 1/5, 1/8, 1/12, 1/48. It doesn't matter what's on the bottom, as long as it's 1 on top, it is a unit fraction. Not unit fraction would be, well, what's wrong here? You don't see number 1. This is 2/3. That's not a unit fraction. 3/5. 3 is not a 1, so it's not a unit fraction. And same with all of these here. These are not unit fractions. Why? Because the top number is not 1, and a unit fraction must have 1 on top. It's important to be able to write the fraction or a given fraction as a sum of unit fractions. For example, if we look at this model, the red part would represent 1 whole, and these parts here would represent, in this case, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 3 of them. So for example, we have 3 that are shaded. So for example, we would have 1/6 here, 1/6 shaded here, and 1/6 shaded here. Remember, our unit fractions are 1 unit that is shaded, representing 1. So how many unit fractions will it take to equal 3/6? Well, what I would say is 3/6 is equal to 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. So notice that we had 1, 2, 3 shaded, and so we listed our 3 unit fractions, 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. Write the fraction as a sum of unit fractions. So here is our whole fraction, and this time we have thirds, and we have 2 of them that are shaded. So how many unit fractions does it take to equal 2/3? Well, we have 2 of them, so we would write 2/3 is equal to 1/3 plus 1/3. This example does not have models. Write the fraction as a sum of unit fractions. 5/12. Well, remember, our unit fractions have to have 1, so we're going to say that 5/12 would be equal to 1/12. I'm going to do it 5 times, plus 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12, and I think one more time, plus 1/12. So this would be our fraction of 5/12 written as a sum. Remember, sum means when we're adding. So this would be our sum, but we're adding our unit fractions 5 times because of the numerator of 5. Here we have a whole fraction, but we can also write this as a sum of unit fractions. This would just simply, remember, a unit fraction must have 1, and that's going to be fifths. 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5, and finally plus 1/5. So 5/5 would be equal to the unit fractions 1/5 written 5 times. Sometimes we'll have to write it several different ways. We can write the fraction 8/10 as a sum of fractions 3 different ways. So 8/10, could show it this way. Here's 4. So if we were to start with 1/2, I think we've got that here. I'll just show that here. This would be 1/2, and this would be 10/10. But this fraction is 8/10, so I'm going to remove 2 of them. And here we can see if I wanted to write 8/10 one way, I could just simply separate these, and that would be our unit fractions. So in other words, it's going to be 1/10 plus 1/10. I'm going to have to squeeze them in here, plus 1/10 plus, we'll just 8 times, plus 1/10. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and one more time. So that's one way we could write that. And we're just kind of separating. That's what we're doing with our unit fractions. A second way we could do that would be to take our 8/10, and really there's any number of ways we could split that. I could say we're going to move 2 of our unit fractions over here and say that 8/10 could also equal 2/10. Now, and you say, well, that's not a unit fraction. You're right, it's not, but this is asking for it 3 different ways. So in this case, 2/10 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unit fractions, but would equal a total of 6/10 would be a second way. And really, we could do it any number of ways, but let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths plus 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths over on this side as well. So in review, our lesson today is on unit fractions. We said unit fractions are fractions, that unit means 1, and that unit fractions are fractions with a top number or a numerator of 1, and a unit fraction represents the shaded part or one shaded part of all the equal parts of a whole. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time.